to hang out with you guys today. You know it? What's going on, Tubicles? I don't know. Usually I'm on TikTok going live. And that is an interesting place, let me tell you. And here I usually have a little bit more to talk about, I feel like, if I go live. But I'm really gonna fix my overall there. What's going on? Okay, how do I get rid of this thing? Oh, that's it. Das es, señorita. Okay. The dog face. I love these bubbles. Look, I can pop them and push them and pop them and push them. But anywho, come and join me. Somebody come talk to me. Come on. Come on, YouTube. Anyway, if you had a podcast, what would you do on your podcast? Look, this is so cool. I love that they're interactive. So I have another podcast too that I started like 2 days ago of beach sounds that I have been recording for a long time. Just like my life at the beach, waves, gentle ambient sounds. So if you need some background music, go check out Z Sounds. I'll put it in the link in the descriptions. I keep checking out my painting back here. Nobody's here. You want to paint with me? Shall we? Might as well. Let's see, let me get you a bit closer. Uh-oh. Well, that ain't good. I hope I don't. My leg. Charlie horse in my leg. Oh, shit. Where'd you go? I watch people like Nick Nimmin, and I just die. And I think if they ever watched one of my messes, I wonder what they would say. So, those of you that are here for the catastrophe I call the Crispy Skate Show, thank you for participating. Much love. Much love to you. You know, I really wish we could listen to music here. I think that would be flippin' awesome. I need a different camera. Oh, hey. What's going on? Thanks for joining. Be there March 7th. Okay. Cool, Mom. Y'all, my mom's in the chat. I'm gonna paint. Do you like my bubbles? I'm doing my first podcast soon, as soon as Chris wakes up. And it is for, oh, don't fall over, an anti-aging stem cell. It's stem cells. So I don't really understand exactly what they are doing, but we're going to find out. Y'all, we're going to find out. I think you're falling again. Are you falling? Does it look like you're falling? Yes, it kind of does, doesn't it? I'm going to try to get you stabilized. I can't tell if anybody's there. Mom, if you're in the chat, will you moderate? Like the chat, Mom. Mom, like the chat. Okay. If you're gonna be here, you better like my chat. Okay. That's funny. Kind of to me. I think I'm funny. Apparently, it's not my mom in the chat anymore. All right. And if it's you and you didn't like my chat, woman, I'm just playing. Okay. So, yes, I love the bubbles. Thank you. Like the chat. The thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, Mom. Give me a thumbs up. What the hell is going on with my tripod here? Y'all, it's going in the trash. I see a new painting. Yeah, we're going to work on it here in a second. It's the bridge. Can you tell? It started off kind of look like a banana. I painted it vertically first. Okay. We're there. Let me see if I can move, though. Okay. Yes, thank you. That's what I mean, like the chat. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Mom. Okay, so yes, March 7th. I look forward to it. Can't wait. What does that say? It looks like biddy beep boop. I have no idea why it's like that. Like, oh my gosh, did you see all the bubbles move? That was cool. Share the live, Mom. Write FYP, write hashtag FYP in the description. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Crispy Skate Show. Oh, they left. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's kind of chill here today. We're going to paint this until somebody wakes up. I'm going to get some paint ready. I really need a membership. Maybe something that I can listen to for copyright-free music. So you guys, please like and share the live so that I can make some money to get some music. Boom, boom. Look at these bubbles. They're so fun. I love that they're interactive. YouTube, please do more stuff like this. Okay. Let's get some paint and some stuff ready here. So I think what we're going to focus on right now is, so we have the water down here. And we have the sky up here. Let's do some sky work. I made this brush. I like it. I cut the bristles and then put ceramic on it and stuck it in the oven. It was two different brushes that fell apart, and then I glued it and remade it. But I'm a hairdresser, and I use these tiny little shears. If you get the good ones, they're expensive. They're like $30, but they are sharp as any thing that you could imagine. And they're really bomb. Okay, so I'm going to use some refined safflower oil that is both a stand oil as well as just some free game oil. And if you're curious as to what I mean by that, you can actually find it on the playlist. I can show you how to make that if you just go to my channel and look at stand oil. Hold on just one second, because something, where is that? Where'd it go? It was misplaced. Hang on just one second. If I have somebody here, Mom, please hold. What the heck? This is really crazy. I'm losing my mind. How is this possible? How did it's got to be like right in front of my face, and I just don't see it, which doesn't really make any sense because there's really not that much stuff over here. Ah, of course. It's because it's behind my rolling cart. Okay, here we go. This is the refined safflower oil. Okay, and you can see it has silicone dioxide in it. And so if you're wondering where to get silicone dioxide, you can get it from the pool plate, like a pool store. It comes in the pool filters. Or you can do what I do, which is I save the packets that come in my shoes and in seaweed. So those little packets, you don't have to touch them, and you just open them and throw them in because it's highly toxic. It's not something you really want to play with. So there we go. So we're going to take a little bit of that. And then the white that I am using is Primalba. It is a zinc oxide white as well, or zinc dioxide as well as a zinc oxide. So it's kind of tacky. It's opaque, but not as opaque as like a true lead white, and it's not translucent at all. But you can build it up or loosen it up. And it has safflower oil, so it doesn't yellow. That's the reason why I've been painting with safflower oil, is because it's non-yellowing. But that safflower oil you can stick without a lid on it and stick it in the sun. This one looks kind of gross, but it works really well. But it turns into syrup, and it makes a really beautiful glaze. We're actually going to use some of this. But you can kind of hold it in your hand and heat it up. I'm just getting our palette ready. Mom, if you're there, drop some comments in the like. And then are you there, Mom? Hello? I don't know. Maybe it's not my mama anymore. I don't know. Okay. Okay. So if you can see that. Oh, you're melting. You're like the Leaning Tower of Cheesa. Hold on. Wait. I really need to figure out how to make this a little bit more convenient for painting. There. At least I know who's here, or at least I think I know who's here. It was my mom. Hold on. Hold on. I am so sorry if I'm making you like dizzy. It's because I have one hand. All right. Oh my good grief. Just don't look for a minute. That's what YouTube wants you to say. Okay, we'll be back. Come back. I'll be back. Give me 2 minutes. Oh, wait. There you are, Mom. What do you say? Do ladder painting? I don't know what that say. For some reason, like, the comments are like, there. I hope it doesn't melt on me again. Bahar, did you say sunflower or safflower? This is it before I refined it. It's safflower oil. Okay. All right. Thanks for commenting. Okay. Oops, shit. All right. But see how like syrupy that is? I don't know if you can see that. But we're just gonna like kind of stick that on the side of our palette. It's a little easier to access. And we don't pollute the rest of this jar over here like I kind of already have. Because it takes a really long time for that stuff to get that thick. Like months. And then I'm getting a fair amount onto my brush, and then I'm going to take a scoop of that white. Where's my lens? There it is. It's a fair scoop. Where can you see? Now we have to move the stinking camera again, of course. What does it say? Are always my... Why is it commenting like that? Wait. They're all like jumbling together. Is there a delay with my comment? Yeah, it looks like it. I would say there is. I'd say so. But at least I kind of figured out where the comments are now. Is that super crooked? Like, this is a... And you're going to probably fall again. I'm glad. At least we're figuring this out. There. How's... There, that's a decent view, huh? Can you see that, Val? Okay. That's as good as we're getting right now, I think. All right. Okay, so again, here we go. Mom, write hashtag FYP. And then just keep writing it. Like hashtag FYP. And then write enter. Hashtag FYP enter. Okay? Just keep doing it. put you on TikTok. I get a lot of people on TikTok though. I had like 1,444 people the other day on our TikTok. It was ridiculous. Okay. Because I don't know if you can watch me if you're not actually on it. Well, it's like make you like a spoof, like you're somebody else, like you're not you. Bubble, bubble. Okay. I don't know. Here we go. That way you don't, because I know you don't want to be on TikTok is the reason why I'm saying that. Okay. Hashtag F as in Frank, Y as in your, P. I wonder if anybody else is watching this. They're going to laugh. That's my mom. As far as I can see, she's the only one here. Let me see if I tap on that, what happens. Shut. Okay, so that's how I unpin. How do I see who's here? Well, apparently not that. And I think I've hit this like 1,000 times. What does that do? Save highlight. I don't know what that did. But here we go. Okay, so here's our sun. And the way that we're going to place our clouds is going to be kind of like in a diamond stagger, if you will. That way you don't overcloud your area. So let's start with our first one. And you'll see the reason why I like this brush so much here. So we're going to give a bit of a half circle here. And I painted this is a linen canvas that I gessoed myself. And I did not use a chalk with it. I actually used this stuff. It is a putty, which I believe is kind of like what you would like spackle your walls with, a spackling, dry decks. But see how the canvas is like leathery? It's pretty cool. It will crack if you're not good to it, but it's a beautiful surface to paint on. And so we're just pushing that paint into it. And the reason why I painted the sky red is because Florida has these really gorgeous pink sunsets. And they're quite hard to achieve if you start off with clouds and a blue sky. So what I accidentally discovered is by painting the sky the undertone that you want to see in the clouds, you will get more of the effect that you're looking for without it looking quite so contrived. So, because I feel like a Florida sunset is gorgeous, but it's kind of overdone. So it's kind of like somebody that curls their hair and like really, really, really curls it, and it's a little bit intense. And you're like, whoa. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is Honey Boo Boo versus Pageant Queen. I don't know. Does that make sense, Mom? I don't know. There we go. So see how the roundness of this brush is kind of really working for me, and it's super flexible, but there's quite a few bristles in it that give it enough sturdiness to draw straight lines too. But what we're doing is just kind of working that paint side to side down into around these palm tree bases and around our sun through here. And remember, not all of this is going to be clouds. Some of it is going to be sky. So letting it become thin and letting that pink or the red or the yellow, whatever color you may be on at the time, shine through is really going to be like what's going to make it look cool. So we're going to take a dab of our safflower oil and start to blur this out even more through here. You can always add more. And kind of begin creating more of that cloud-like fluffy shape in there. There we go. And what I'm doing actually is looking at the camera, because you will see a lot of mistakes if you are looking through a lens, more so than when you're looking at it in person. Just a hot tip. Now see, this looks a little bit too fakey for me through here. And you know, taking a picture is always a good idea to have a reference. Or if you're like me, and sometimes just, you didn't do that, then you have to kind of paint with your brain. There we go. And see, I'm keeping this circular motion happening too. And the edges of the cloud, I'm keeping it a little bit brighter. Giving it a little bit more of an outline. And see, I'm pushing that paint. That's one thing that I learned about the difference between oil paint versus watercolor and acrylic, is that oil paint is a real push-pull process. And that is a big point of difference to me when working with oil paint than when working with a different color form of paint, because you can lay a line with the brush. But really, when you're working with oil paint, you're using the shapes of the brush to push and pull. That's why there's so many different shapes of brushes with oil painting versus like a watercolor brush. Because you're primarily not necessarily focusing on the consistency, I guess. You're focusing on pushing and pulling. Yeah, I guess the consistency too. But you're not focusing on dilution, is what I'm trying to say, like water dilution. You're focusing on the application more. Oh, that doesn't make any sense either. I'll shut up now. Keep painting. I'm tired. Here we go. I'm just taking a touch more of our white. If you're wondering to yourself, what is this triangular piece here? I actually really don't know. I was going a different direction with this, and then I decided to stick with what it was. So we'll find out what that is later. But for right now, we're going to go with the sky. And see, really using the shape of that brush again to push and pull that paint. Don't necessarily try to draw with it. And then, like, if I wanted to roll the brush, then I would roll the brush and make more of a circular area. You guys see that? And sometimes it's not a bad idea to just kind of stop and think. I would say, to be flat out honest with you, the biggest part of what takes me so long to paint is likely staring at my painting. But come to find out, thanks to reading a lot about other artists, I am not the only one. This seems to be a common thing. But we can't let that hold us back, because if you, again, do like read art history, if you read about Cezanne, who really kind of created the abstract, or began kind of the abstract movement, he held himself back into his 70s, really. Even his friends that were basically famous poets would tell him that he was his own worst enemy. So we don't want to do that. It's starting to look a bit like a sky, would you say? Get that cloud going in there. A little bit brighter. And then this needs to be less liney, like right there. It needs to be more bit more cloud shaped. What time is that? Do you guys know what time it is? I need to know what time it is real quick. Before shit hits the fan. Let's see. Can you guys see that better? But water's pretty hard to paint. And that was been my water in the sky. This was a challenge piece. And I practiced, or I stared at this for a long time in my art studio garage. And before I picked it back up. So I started it, I think, in June. And then I picked it back up last week. Okay, now I have some of that white still on my brush. That has turned a tad bit peach now. And so I'm going to utilize that and kind of pull down this area here where these palm tree bends are being reflected. And I haven't painted their palms yet because they're dark. So usually, unless it's like a outline or something that I know that I can commit to, I will paint dark last, unless it's going to help me, because otherwise you can't get rid of it. It's a lot easier to make things darker than to turn around and make them lighter. However, that is not the case when it comes to painting on a black canvas. Like, that was a learning experience for me. So I keep getting comments about black canvas, right? Black canvas. So finally I painted a black canvas. Ta-da! I mean, this isn't done yet, but I painted it black with acrylic paint and then went over it with oil. And you can see, like, the ridiculous amount of dimension that I got. And this is literally three colors: white, alizarin crimson, and cadmium red. And look how much dimension I got just from it being a black canvas. And this is one layer and very little effort. So now I see the black canvas rage, which also inspired the clouds being on red on another canvas, which I don't have close to me right now. But that was an experiment that went really well. And so it took me a long time to learn that. But mistakes are okay. Don't give up. The other thing that is a learning experience is still water being reflected, because the movement of water is a little bit challenging. So the shape of it is going to be loosely, you're going to make like these. I'm going to try to draw it on here so that you can, where is my pen? Okay. So that you can kind of see it a little bit more than I would have it. And then that way I can go over it. So it's almost like an infinity sign, right? So you're going to go like this, like an upside down circle. And then you're going to cross right over it like a Jesus fish almost, or an eye, another upside down, or a right side up circle. So right side up circle, upside down circle. And you kind of continue with this pattern, but very uncommittedly, right? Now, the closer that the pattern is together, the more movement in the water you're going to have. The longer the pattern is, the stiller the water is. Does that make sense? All right, we are going to highlight that because that was kind of a good point. There we go. Okay. So, again, the shorter that pattern is, the more movement your water has. The longer that pattern is, the smoother your water will look and the more reflective it will look. Okay, so now we are going to take some of our French blue, not a lot of it, a little bit more than what I have on here though, as well as we are going to take a, oh wait, that is not French blue. I grabbed the wrong tube. Whoa, that was like a salon moment that could have gone potentially wrong. But luckily I don't have anybody here to yell at me about it. Oh, geez. Well, at least it was right there. Okay. So I'm using Winsor Newton. This is actually French Ultramarine Blue Artisan Color. There we go. Okay. And then one of the biggest kept secrets to me was Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray. Oops. Hold on. So Payne's Gray is a very, oops, cancel. Payne's Gray is a very useful color because it is going to be background. And what I mean by that is Payne's Gray is slightly green, slightly blue. And if you are thinking about what we would call, if you removed all pigment and it was just black and white, and then you said, okay, now what primary color is closest to black? Obviously, it wouldn't be yellow. Okay, so would it be red? No, it'd probably be blue, right? So Payne's Gray is black without being black. It's going to be more blue-green. So basically what that does for you is it's going to give you, it's going to darken your color without changing the tone very much. So let's take a look at what I made. So again, we're making that fish shape. I was almost talking over what I needed to be doing, like I am right now. We don't want to cover up there's palm trees too much. But that's why you don't use too much pigment at first. But see, keeping these short and fairly close together is going to make your water look more still. And this is what I mean by like pushing and pulling. See how I just removed that excess blue that I really kind of did right there by pushing it and pulling it off with my bristles. Okay. And I still want the reflection of all of these colors to come through. So I'm allowing that oil to kind of work for me. And that's part of the reason why I have more of a nude canvas as opposed to a white. So that I feel like with a pigmented canvas, I don't know why I just said that, you have more flexibility to leave blank areas. And this is a bit of the water's edge. And it's a bit darker over here because of the shade from the tree. Now, once you get your horizontal bits going, you would come through and pull this all vertically down. And the trick is to really take it vertical, and make sure your brush does not leave your canvas until you get to the edge of where your water is going. If that makes any sense. Okay. And this is going over the reflection of the ground right here. The grass was brass. The grass was a bit dead. This was taken, oh yeah, I guess, when did I take this? I took it before I started painting it, so it was taken in the winter last year. So everything kind of dies out here. There's not as much water as there is in the summertime. There we go. Okay, let me get rid of this thing because that's annoying. Okay. All right, Mom, if you hang out, if anybody comes in the chat and I don't see them and they have any questions, will you answer them? If you're going to be hanging out. There we go. That way, I'm just live, hanging out here. And we are just getting this water looking a little bit more smooth. And now I'm going to come through horizontally, pulling that pigment down where that reflection is. And again, you don't want your brush to leave your canvas until you get to the edge of the water. Okay. I'm taking a touch more of my refined safflower oil. If you would like to know more about refining your safflower oil, I do have a video on that on the playlist, I believe, marked oil painting. And you can learn how to refine your store-bought safflower oil there, which will save you a fortune, FYI. I actually picked mine up from Whole Foods for about under 10 bucks, I'll say. And it's, let me see, about 38 ounces of it. Okay, now see how like that bit right there, that excess paint, kind of gave me a little bit more of a wave, right? You guys see that? And then allowing the background color of the canvas to come through is really giving me a little bit extra to work with and have minimum effort, because that way I can expose some of that canvas and it's actually giving me more effect as opposed to looking blank. So if it was like a white canvas, I would feel like it needed something there, right? So right now what I'm doing is kind of giving this a bit of a shadow where that bridge is, where that walkway would be, right? And see, I'm pulling this vertically down because those are pretty straight. And the sun is here, so it's pretty dead on. There's that pillar right there. I accidentally covered it with green earlier, but we can just white it out here in a little bit. There we go. And give it a little bit of texture. And see, that's kind of looking a little bit more like grass, right? I don't paint anything necessarily super realistic, but the idea. Oh, where are you at? I'm so sorry. I wish that you guys could send me like sound effects. How cool would that be? YouTube, if you're listening, can my chat have sound effects? Because you could be like, hey, hey, beep, beep. I don't know. So we're going to get, now that I have that color on my brush, which is a bit of Payne's Gray, and my safflower oil. Obviously, it's very little pigment. We're just going to come up into this arch on the bridge and give that a bit of shadow too. Can you guys see that well? There we are. We're just pumping that up into there. Pushing and pulling. See, push, 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 push. Pull, 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 pull. And see, this is Payne's Gray. I'm pulling down into here. And see how that kind of looks like dark water under the bridge. It's giving me a nice reflection. There we go. Again, things that I had challenges with painting. That reflective water. I'm trying to get it to where you guys can, because it's subtle, right? Okay. So I'm just taking a touch more of my safflower oil, and I am not reloading my brush with pigment quite just yet. But now that I have some on there in this dark area, I'm going to push and pull these, remember, kind of Jesus-shaped fish shapes. Jesus, say that 6 times. So it's like Sally sold seashells. Jesus-shaped fish-shaped areas. And then pull them vertically. Oops. But that's okay because I have a lot of oil. I can just kind of redo it. Then pulling them vertically down. Okay. Now the point of this is thin to thick. And the reason why we work thin to thick is so that you can go over it with stuff like this. Additionally, your paint can crack. I repeat, your paint can crack. When you are creating art, it occurred to me recently, like what defines art is kind of probably something that's, you know, gonna last for a while. And so, you know, you don't know where your art is going to be when you aren't here anymore. And who's going to like it when you aren't here anymore, because there's so many people, they didn't know that their art was going to live forever, even though they're not here anymore. So, using the right, if that matters to you, using the right paint is a big deal. So another reason why I like that Primalba is its flexibility, because some paint can be very stiff and it can crack, which would shorten the lifespan of your painting. Can you imagine if Da Vinci's Last Supper just fell off the wall? It just about has. But you know what's remarkable to me is that he actually, we're just going to grab, while I'm talking, we're going to grab some cerulean blue. What's remarkable to me is that they actually did not use oil paint back then. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know they didn't use oil paint? They actually used pigment and egg white. Yeah. That actually lasted that long. Pigment and egg white. And like, if you read, I know this sounds ridiculous, but it took, I was in, like, I went to a lot of art classes, like, but I didn't realize that lead white, titanium white, I didn't realize that these things were called this stuff because it has it in it. And that's the reason why it's so flippin' toxic. So, yeah, so my point being is that they were these minerals and ground up stones, basically, the artists would create or extract until they really started using oils for painting. And then Expressionism came around in like the 1800s, which, mind you, is when all the cadmiums came around. And it's because of artists like Van Gogh, who used to like eat his paint, but they used to make it. They would make their paint and extract cadmium colors, those really intense bright colors, which I love, out of lead paint. And so around this time is actually additionally when the fruit, the orange, became popular in the Western Hemisphere. And so that brought on the name of the color orange. So we called orange light red, like literally up until then. Isn't that crazy? I think that's really interesting for personally. I think that's really cool. A little bit of useless information, but word interested to me. It was interesting. The history of the color orange and cadmiums. There you go. That's it. That's it. You guys, if you're here, please like and share the live because I'm in for it. Additionally, we are having a podcast, or I'm doing my first interview podcast later. I'm super stoked. I'm actually going to go interview a local establishment that is doing anti-aging treatments with stem cells. I don't even know. I don't even know. But it sounds scientific and an incredible thing. And I don't know, anti-aging stem cell research. Like, I know we froze my son's stem cells, like when I had my kid. I think they're like in like Dade County or something, which is kind of funny because now we're in Florida. So, you know, I don't know, the apocalypse happens and I need to go get my frozen stem cells, which I don't know how I feel about freezing things, but whatever. That's a different story. Here we go. All right. Can y'all see the bottom of the water? I guess you can. Here we are. So now I'm taking this cerulean blue. Again, you have to remember I like my things impactful. If you want to calm this down, you put some green in there, some brown, and there's a whole range of tones that you could work with this. But for me, I again really like the Impressionist artwork. So I work with a lot of cadmiums and brighter colors, and I mix a lot of my colors on the on the canvas, which is what Kandinsky did. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wassily Kandinsky. He is my favorite artist, and he really began abstract art. And the reason, one of the growing things of his popularity was that he actually said to mix your paint on the canvas. And to this day, his paintings continue to grow brighter, which again, remember we talked about like how important like your art could possibly be, like even though you are dead. What did you say while you were here? You know? What did you say? I hope that when people look at my art, to me, art is something that makes you think. I'm so sorry, you guys. I promise I will get a better tripod. This was supposed to be a better tripod. Apparently, you can see where I'm at. Thank you so much for not leaving. I'm probably going to go to edit this later and be like, oh my God, I'm dizzy. Okay. All right, screw it. We'll work up here because it is not digging the bottom of my painting right now. Where are you at? Where can I see you? I'm going to try to tell you just a bit, okay? I really hope you guys are actually here. Sometimes it times out. Thanks for staying with me. Please like the live if you haven't. That's that little thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. It really helps me stay a creator and make videos for you guys. I know it sounds silly, but that's actually like kind of how we stay relevant. Okay, so here we go. Yes, and now see what I'm doing is I'm looking at my phone on my camera, and I'm able to really kind of see even more of what I want to do. And see how watery this looks over this kind of nude color background. And again, taking it all the way down to the water's edge. There we go. Okay, now see this bright cerulean? Now I'm going to pull that over through here. Okay, so I'm going to start kind of with a bit of a path. And again, those longer strokes. Okay, now see it dips here. So we want a bit of up here and up and up. That's the technical term. Okay, can y'all see that? Okay, now we have horizontal, horizontal. We're going to continue with a little bit more horizontal before we take it. But see how the shape of this brush? Well, I'm telling you, you guys, I don't make them, but maybe I should make a video on how to make it. There we go. Because I have not, to this day, since I've made this brush, found one like it in the store. And I'm convinced it's pretty bomb. Okay, so now we have horizontal, 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 right? So for time's sake, I'm going to take a touch of oil. Ta-da! And then we're going to go vertical. Okay, we're going to pull that down. So again, I'm going to start at the water's edge, all the way down. The reason why I'm starting up here at that water's edge is because if I start down here, you're going to see those horizontal marks. And this gives me a little bit of blue to come pull up through here too. That'll give me more glassy bits coming through. And see those horizontal lines mixed in with these fish lines really kind of pull off that reflection, would you say? There we go. And then we're going going to come up here and kind of create where the water is meeting the edge here. And another fun thing to do is usually right against this area, you're going to get more light on the very, very edge of the water. So at the very end, what we'll do is we'll come through and create a white edge of like bubble. If you were looking at a lake, just kind of keep in mind what you would be looking at, right? And again, pictures help a lot. I just happened to lose the one that I had of this, but it is in my backyard, so I look at it a lot. There we go. Okay. See, this is a dark area. And then we're pulling, pulling, pulling. All the way down. Sweet. Okay. Now over here, I'm gonna not add in so much pigment, except for towards like right there. You know, I'm gonna pull some of this off. Remember, it's a push and pull, push and pull. And we're actually gonna put some of it over here. And what I'm doing here is really just kind of getting it off of my brush. Because see, my surface is so slippery, but absorbent with that stucco stuff. And I'm whipping my brush. And I'm not super duper consistent. There we go. All right. Now let's get a bit more of that blue, and I'm mixing it with a touch of the white. Okay, and you know, I'm feeling it like through here. There we are. All right, and then we're going to continue to pull. Now that we have this highly reflective area over here with our dart, let me get a bit more oil right there. What we're going to focus on is pulling some of the, because that's what I did here. And then now we're going to continue a little bit of this choppiness just in this area, right on top of it. And that will give us more dimension into our water with keeping the reflection. And I guess what I mean is peaks and valleys into our water with keeping the reflection. Think of water. If you're thinking of a peak and a valley, it's exactly what it looks like, right? And think of how it would hit the surface. Like right here, it might be shorter. Over here will be longer, right? Right here, longer, shorter, because it's the dip down. Okay. And then we're going to pull some white through here. All right. I feel like y'all aren't seeing the same thing because it's super reflective here. Maybe. There we go. I think that that's getting a little bit better. Okay. Now, can you see how wet my surface is? So we're going to let that absorb in, which one thing about working on this kind of canvas is that it definitely like absorbs and dries a little bit faster than on a different canvas. Like, look at this. This is from yesterday. Isn't that sweet? And that's without using an alkyd, which would increase the drying time, or decrease the drying time, I mean. Alkyds are additives that you would use in an oil paint to speed up drying time, but unfortunately they can also increase cracking. So you have to be a little bit cautious of that. And now I have a little bit of oil and my white, and it's super watery, and I'm just kind of hitting this edge. And this will be where we probably end today and let this drying catch up. And we will catch back up tomorrow here after we're done at 10 a.m. There we go. Because that will give it just enough time to set. And then see, oh, that's a good shadow color. See how much more dimension we get? That's the reason why you start off with layers and you go thin to thick, thin to thick. More and more pigment as you go. Now watch this. This is going to be good. So we know this is our line here. And can you guys see? Oop, low battery. Okay. Can you guys see that beautiful, like, perfect color for reflection here, right? Can you guys see that? That's coming out good. And see, just continuing to like let those layers work in. That is the trick. Because if you start off too strong, trust me, it never looks the same. Even if you can let it dry and paint over it, it's never the same. Even if like, I feel, unless you like sand it off and you're able to ignore whatever is somewhat kind of existing, to me it's really challenging to get over what was there whenever I sand a work and be able to move on. It's like I don't know, it has like the same juju of the old work. Okay, so we're going to continue this color for these palm trees right here. The light is over here, so the shadow is coming this way. And remember, this is like kind of like on a hill. Okay. Each layer is just adding in more and more dimension. And I'm just kind of continuing with this almost 45-degree angular shadow here. Bit of shade, you guys see that? And, you know, if you were a palm tree behind this palm tree, you would have a little bit of the shade here on your trunk. And if you were this palm tree behind that palm tree, you would have some shade here. And if you were this palm tree, apparently you would just disappear. I think it actually got cut down. Oh, what fun. In the very edge, because you just never know what your framework will look like when you're done. It's good to have somewhat of a plan, though, on how you're framing it. If you can be that prepared, that's great. All right, guys, boom shakalaka. I got to roll. I got a podcast to make tomorrow at 10 a.m. I will catch you then. Where's my lens? There you are. Mom, thanks for being here. Whoever else you are, thanks for being here. Please like and share the live. We're going to paint this puppy again tomorrow. So please stay tuned. Come back and see ya. Keep it crispy, y'all.